The chamber beneath Earth's Capitol dome vibrated with tension. Delegates from every Terran colony filled the circular hall, voices rising in overlapping arguments. News feeds from Mars, Luna, and the belt played on the walls, Dominion warships patrolling skies above human settlements, black silhouettes against stars that once belonged to no one but humankind. Admiral Elias Kane stood silent at the center dais. He wore his uniform with rigid simplicity, no medals, no ceremonial ribbons, only the dark blue of the Terran fleet and the silver insignia at his collar. The council demanded his presence, but he spoke only when necessary, and then with the precision of a surgeon. "They'll destroy us if we defy them," a Martian delegate shouted, pounding his desk. "We can't resist a power that's fought wars for 1,000 years." Across the chamber, a representative from Titan snapped back. "Surrender, and we're slaves. Do you trust the Dominion not to strip our worlds bare? They don't want allies. They want subjects." The voices tangled into chaos. Kane finally raised his hand. The room stilled, not from authority alone, but because his silence carried weight no shouting could. "The Dominion has already made their position clear," Kane said evenly. His voice cut through the chamber like a clean blade. "They've blockaded 5 colonies, executed 3 civilian governors, and demanded we send ships to fight in their war. Neutrality is no longer an option. We either submit or we stand." The hall erupted again, but this time the debate was edged with fear. Every delegate had seen the footage: the Dominion flagship hovering above Europa, its weapons firing into crowded domes to demonstrate discipline. Hundreds dead in seconds. Humanity had not fired a shot, and already their blood stained the stars. A hollow projection flickered to life beside Kane. A Dominion envoy appeared, scaled skin, jeweled armor, eyes gleaming with disdain. High Strategist Varith addressed the council in flawless Terran speech, each word dripping contempt. "Humans," the envoy said, "your neutrality ends now. The Dominion decrees your fleets will fight under our command. Refusal is rebellion, and rebellion will be extinguished. You are a young species. Serve, and you will survive." The projection vanished, leaving silence heavy in its wake. Kane's jaw tightened. He turned to the delegates, his gaze steady. "They believe we'll break. They think patience is weakness. They are wrong." A delegate from Luna leaned forward, voice sharp with doubt. "And if we resist? They have 1,000 worlds. We have 12 colonies and a fragile fleet. Resistance is suicide." Kane's answer came without hesitation. "Then better to die free than live chained. But I do not plan on dying." Hours later, Kane walked the length of the Terran fleet's command bridge orbiting Earth. Through the vast viewport, the planet glowed in blue and white serenity, unaware of the storm building beyond. Officers rose as he passed, their eyes filled with the same quiet fire. Commodore Yara Singh, his second in command, joined him. Her voice carried the controlled urgency of someone who had not slept in days. "Reports confirm Dominion warships are massing near Proxima. They're preparing to strike deeper." Kane clasped his hands behind his back. "How many ships can we deploy?" 30 mainline cruisers, a dozen carriers, support craft from Mars and the Belt. Against their hundreds." She trailed off, grim. "They'll expect us to fight them head-on," Kane said. His expression did not shift. "We won't." Singh studied him. "Are you suggesting we use the Atlas prototypes?" Kane gave a single nod. The Atlas fleet, humanity's hidden blade, had been built in silence across asteroid shipyards, vessels guided by AI systems designed for precision warfare. Most of the Council didn't even know of their existence. "Bring them online," Kane ordered. "If the Dominion forces our hand, they'll meet something they didn't expect." On Europa, under Dominion blockade, civilians huddled in ruined domes. Broadcasts from Earth trickled through the jamming fields, news of Admiral Kane refusing the Dominion decree. Whispers spread. Perhaps Earth would not abandon them. Perhaps humanity would not bow. In the Dominion War Council chamber light years away, Varith studied the latest reports. His scaled face curled into a sneer. They refuse? He said, voice oily with amusement. The primitives believe themselves strong. Crush their colonies. Leave their Earth untouched for now. Fear will rot them faster than fire. A subordinate dared to ask. And if they resist further? Varith's sneer deepened. Then humanity will serve as the galaxy's example. Their ashes will teach obedience. The first clash came sooner than expected. A Dominion cruiser entered orbit above Ceres Station, its weapons primed. Kane's fleet intercepted before the strike could begin. Enemy hailing us, Singh reported. Put them through. The Dominion captain's image filled the bridge, a towering alien with ridged armor and eyes narrowed in mockery. Human Admiral. Withdraw, or I will erase your station and every soul on it. Kane's reply was quiet, deliberate. Ceres is Terran ground. You fire, and you declare war. Do you understand the weight of that choice? The alien laughed, a harsh rasp. War? You are insects. Kane cut the channel. All ships engage. The battle was short, brutal, and decisive. Human cruisers swarmed the Dominion vessel, their coordination uncanny. Missiles pierced its shields, rail cannons shredded its hull. Within minutes, the once mighty warship was a burning carcass drifting into the void. The victory was broadcast across every colony. Humanity had drawn first blood, and won. Back on Earth, the council chamber reconvened. Delegates who once shouted for surrender now leaned forward with cautious hope. Kane faced them, voice unwavering. The Dominion thought us helpless. We've shown them otherwise. But this is only the beginning. They will come in force. We must unite, Earth, Mars, Titan, every outpost. Separate, we are prey. Together, we are a fleet. A delegate asked the question hanging in the air. And if we lose? Kane's eyes hardened. Then let the galaxy remember we were never pawns. We were warriors. News of the skirmish reached Varith within days. He crushed the datapad in his clawed hand, shards scattering across the floor. Primitives, he hissed. They dare resist. Very well. We will teach them the price of defiance. He turned to his council, voice rising with fury. Prepare the armada. Proxima will burn. On the command deck of the Atlas flagship, Kane watched stars slide past. Reports flooded in, Dominion fleets massing, larger than anything humanity had ever faced. Yet his expression remained carved from stone. Singh approached quietly. They're coming with overwhelming numbers. Kane looked at her, his gaze steady. Good. Let them. Through the viewport, the endless dark stretched before him. Humanity had been dragged into a war not of their making. But now, with the Dominion bearing down, Elias Kane was certain of one thing. The galaxy had made its final mistake. The Dominion armada dropped into the Proxima system like a black storm. Hundreds of warships formed into precise formations, their drives glowing like a line of fire across the void. Their intent was clear: overwhelm, annihilate, and leave no question about Dominion supremacy. On the bridge of the TDS Atlas, flagship of the Terran Defense Command, Admiral Elias Kane stood at the central console. His officers moved with steady urgency, screens alive with projections of enemy movements. The Dominion force outnumbered them more than 3-1. Enemy fleet breaking into 3 wings, reported Commodore Singh. Each is large enough to crush us individually. Kane studied the map. His voice carried calm weight. They want us to panic, split, and scatter. We won't. Order Atlas Wing into shadow position. Signal Fleet 2 to bait the central advance. The command spread through the fleet, 30 mainline cruisers and carriers shifting like pieces of a machine. From orbit of Proxima's colony world, civilians watched their skies ignite with drive trails. Fear gripped them, but in that fear there was also something new, faith that their fleet would not run. On the Dominion flagship Vorkath, High Strategist Varith leaned forward in his throne-like command chair. His scaled mouth twisted into a grin. They line up to die, he muttered. Primitive courage is still suicide. His sub-commanders echoed the laugh, confident in numbers and firepower. Varith raised a claw. Signal all wings. Crush their flagship. Leave the colonies for later. When their protector falls, their people will kneel. The battle began with a thunder of light. Dominion lances of plasma ripped across void, carving through empty space where human ships had been moments before. Kane's bait wings scattered, their drives flaring as if retreating. Dominion captains surged forward, chasing the appearance of weakness. On the Atlas, Kane gave the order. Deploy Shadow Fleet. From the asteroid belt, hidden shapes awoke. Sleek vessels emerged, painted black, hulls bristling with experimental weapons. The Atlas fleet, ships unknown to alien intelligence reports, slipped behind the Dominion vanguard. Targets locked, Singh said, eyes bright. Strike. Dozens of gravity mines launched, silent spheres drifting into Dominion paths. When the enemy crossed them, space-time buckled. Warships twisted off course, hulls shuddering under impossible stress. At that same moment, Terran AI-guided rail cannons fired in perfect unison. Beams of molten metal punched through weakened shields. Dominion cruisers that should have endured hours of punishment tore apart in minutes. Impossible! One of Varith's captains shouted over comms. They fight like they know every move. Varith's claws dug into his armrest. They are guessing. Keep pressing. Break their line! But the line was not breaking. Human ships did not fight like prey. They fought with coordinated precision, weaving through ion storms, luring Dominion squadrons into traps that collapsed with devastating efficiency. Within an hour, the impossible was fact. A smaller, outnumbered Terran fleet had turned the tide. Dominion wreckage burned against Proxima's sun, and Kane's cruisers held the system. When the last Dominion wing retreated, silence filled the bridge of the Atlas. Crew looked around in disbelief. They had survived. They had won. Kane's face betrayed nothing, though a quiet resolve burned behind his eyes. Signal all colonies, he ordered. Tell them Proxima stands. The message spread faster than light. Across Luna, Mars, Titan, and distant outposts, humans watched the footage of Dominion warships breaking apart under Terran fire. The myth of alien invincibility had shattered. Not long after, Kane received a private channel. The hollow shimmered to reveal alien envoys of the Unity Council, the Dominion's rivals. Their spokesperson, an elder with luminous skin, bowed slightly. Admiral Kane, humanity has proven strength beyond expectation. We offer alliance. Together, we can defeat the Dominion. Kane studied the envoy, expression unreadable. And after the war? Do we become another piece on your board? You would gain protection, trade, recognition. Kane's reply was flat. We will not trade one master for another. Humanity fights for its people, not your council. He cut the channel without hesitation. Singh turned to him, cautious. An alliance could save lives. Kane shook his head. Or cost us freedom. They dragged us into their war. We'll decide how we fight in it. News of the defeat hit the Dominion War Council like a dagger. Varys stood before his generals, his voice a low growl. Do you understand what this means? Every world now whispers that primitives shattered our fleet. If this spreads unchecked, rebellion will fester across our borders. One general hissed. Then we must scorch them. Show the galaxy the price of defiance. Varith's grin returned, sharper than blades. Yes. Not just their fleets, strike their civilians. Burn their colonies. When they wail for mercy, the galaxy will remember the Dominion is eternal. The extermination order came swift. Dominion raiders attacked outlying human settlements, targeting unarmed stations and transport routes. Thousands died before Terran defense wings could respond. Kane stood over casualty reports on his command table, the numbers heavy but his voice steady. This is their answer. They fear us, so they slaughtered the defenseless. That ends now. Singh's tone was iron. Where do we strike back? Titan's Gate, Kane said. The name alone carried weight. A massive Dominion fortress at a choke point of supply lines, bristling with defenses. It had never fallen in centuries. Singh frowned. That fortress is a death trap. Kane met her gaze. Exactly why they won't expect us to take it. If we cut their lifeline, their fleets will starve. Order preparations. We move. Weeks later, the Terran fleet gathered near Titan's Gate. The fortress loomed, a black citadel ringed with heavy guns and endless hangars. Inside the command deck of the Atlas, Kane gave final orders. Initiate disruption protocols. Hack their logistics grid. When confusion spreads, strike hard and fast. No prolonged battle. We take the fortress or we leave wreckage behind. The attack began with silence. Terran infiltration codes slipped into Dominion systems, turned supply schedules into chaos. Fuel ships were diverted, hangar doors sealed, defense grids flickered uncertainly. Then the Terran fleet hit like lightning. Carriers released waves of fighters that darted through blind spots. Cruisers hammered weak points identified by hacked schematics. Atlas prototypes deployed rail batteries that ripped into the fortress core. For the first time in Dominion history, Titan's Gate faltered. Its defenses collapsed under relentless, coordinated assault. Terran Marines stormed the interior, planting charges that blew through command halls. Within hours, the impossible had happened again. The fortress fell. Kane stood on its shattered command deck, the Dominion banner burning behind him. He activated a broadcast to the galaxy. You thought us fragile. You thought we would serve. Today Titan's Gate is ours. Remember this, humanity does not kneel. The words rippled through 1,000 systems. To some, it was hope. To others, fear. To the Dominion, it was humiliation beyond bearing. When word reached Vaerith, his laughter echoed through the War Council. It was not mirth but fury sharpened to madness. Good, he hissed. Let them shine bright. The brighter the fire, the sweeter its ashes. Prepare the Grand Armada. If humans crave war, then war will consume them all. On the bridge of the Atlas, Kane looked out at the stars. He knew the cost would grow heavier, that the Dominion's fury would come with fire and blood. But the choice had already been made. Humanity would not surrender. Singh's voice broke the silence. They're coming with everything. Kane nodded once. Then we'll show them why dragging us into their war was their greatest mistake. The Dominion's Grand Armada entered Orion's rift like a tide of steel. Thousands of warships advanced in perfect symmetry, their combined mass eclipsing stars. At their center loomed the flagship Vorkath, where High Strategist Vaerith sat enthroned, eyes blazing with hatred. This is no longer suppression, he declared to his captains. This is extermination. Humanity will be erased, and their ashes will remind the galaxy who rules these stars. Around him, sub-commanders bowed. They believed in numbers, in overwhelming power. Against such a fleet, no species had ever stood. On the TDS Atlas, Admiral Elias Kane watched the storm approach. His officers were silent, their screens lit with endless red signatures marking enemy vessels. Estimate? Kane asked. 3,000 capital ships, Singh answered. Support craft triple that. We have 400. Then every ship must count for 10. Kane's voice carried no trace of doubt. The fleet hung poised at the mouth of Orion's rift, a corridor of unstable gravity fields and fractured nebulae. It was treacherous space, avoided by all major powers. Kane had chosen it for that reason. Transmit false fleet signatures, he ordered. Moments later, dozens of phantom signals appeared deeper inside the rift, holographic projections of Terran warships, designed to draw Dominion forces inward. From his throne, Vaerith laughed when the news signals appeared. They hide in the rift, thinking shadows will save them. Fools! Pursue and crush them. Dominion wings surged forward, diving into the unstable corridor. Kane watched, waiting, every muscle in his body still as stone. Hold, he murmured. Let them commit. The rift's gravity tides shifted unpredictably. For ships unfamiliar with its corridors, even small missteps could twist trajectories fatally. But the Terran fleet had mapped every anomaly. No, Kane said. The phantom signals vanished. At the same instant, Hidden Terran squadrons ignited drives, striking Dominion flanks. Mines detonated across fault lines, collapsing fields around enemy cruisers. Entire squadrons vanished into rifts of gravity, torn apart before they could react. On the Vorkath, alarms screamed. Reports flooded in, ships lost, formations broken, command relays jammed. "Impossible!" a captain roared. "They knew the rift! They—" Varys silenced him with a backhanded strike. Blood hissed against the floor. "Regroup. They cannot stand against our numbers." Yet for every order, the chaos grew. Human vessels struck with uncanny coordination, cutting into weak points before vanishing into rift shadows. Dominion formations collapsed under attacks they could neither predict nor counter. On the Atlas, Singh's voice rose. "We're inflicting massive losses, but they're pushing hard toward us." Kane's gaze held steady on the shifting map. "That's what we need. Draw them deeper." Moments later, the Dominion Corps fleet advanced directly into the heart of the rift. Kane gave the order. "Trigger collapse." Prepositioned warheads detonated along the rift's unstable corridors. Gravity fields twisted violently, ripping space into chasms of distortion. Dominion ships were dragged apart by invisible tides. Entire wings imploded in seconds. The galaxy had never seen destruction on such scale. But the Dominion still pressed forward, their flagship driving through chaos like a beast refusing death. The Vorkath advanced, its weapons tearing through Terran squadrons. "They're coming straight for us," Singh warned. Kane's expression did not change. "Then we end it here." He opened a direct channel to all ships. "This is Admiral Kane. You've fought with courage no history will forget. One more strike, and this war turns. Follow me." The Terran fleet roared forward, every vessel committing to the final push. Rail cannons thundered, missile barrages lit the void, fighters swarmed in coordinated strikes. Dominion defenses faltered under the sheer ferocity. On the Vorkath, Varith's fury reached madness. "Bring me Kane's head!" he roared, as his flagship carved into Terran lines. The Atlas closed in, exchanging fire with the Dominion behemoth. Shields buckled, hull plates peeled away, but Kane never flinched. "Concentrate on their command tower," he ordered. The fleet obeyed. Precision strikes hammered the flagship. Explosions tore across its spine. Finally, the mighty Vorkath reeled, fires consuming its decks. Kane stood unblinking as the enemy flagship listed, crippled. "Boarding parties. Bring me Varith alive." Hours later, in the shattered command hall of the Dominion flagship, Varith was dragged before Kane in chains. The alien's jeweled armor was scorched, his sneer still defiant despite ruin. "You think this victory matters?" Varith spat. "You are ants who struck a lion. Others will come. You cannot hold the galaxy." Kane stepped closer, his voice a cold knife. "We don't want the galaxy. We want our freedom. And today, you learned what happens when you try to take it from us." The chamber fell silent. Varith's sneer faltered. In the aftermath, wreckage drifted across Orion's rift. The Dominion armada was gone, broken beyond repair. Back on Earth, cheers rose from every colony as news spread. Humanity had faced the greatest power in the galaxy and triumphed. The Unity Council sent envoys again, offering humanity a permanent seat among them. Kane received them aboard the Atlas. "Admiral," the envoy said, bowing low, "with your strength, you will reshape this galaxy. Join us. Together, we can build peace." Kane's reply was as unyielding as ever. "Peace built on chains is not peace. Humanity will stand alone. We are not pawns for empires. We will decide our path." The envoy hesitated, then bowed again, conceding. As stars drifted past the viewport, Singh approached quietly. "We've won, Admiral. But at a cost. Thousands dead, entire fleets gone." Kane's expression softened for the first time. "Victory always costs. But it buys something priceless." "And what is that?" He turned toward Earth, glowing blue in the distance. "The knowledge that no one will ever again think humanity can be dragged into war against its will." High above the rift, the Terran fleet gathered in silence, battered yet unbroken. Across the galaxy, species whispered in awe and fear. Humanity, once dismissed as young and fragile, had become something else entirely, a force no empire would provoke again. And for the Dominion, who thought to enslave them, regret would echo for centuries.